Welcome to the Boys Crypto Show here on this Tuesday, on this Wednesday. No, it's Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, it is Wednesday. Woo! What a day it was in the markets. And at the beginning of the day, there was a lot of doom and gloom. A lot of traders like, or not traders, but the bulls were really struggling today as Bitcoin just went sideways, taking the total 3 market cap down with it. We had a massive candle on market open since then, retracing to the upside, and just after market close, Microsoft comes in with something unexpected, baby, unexpected, and punches optimism back into the market right here at 1530. This was the candle right here, and it lit us up to the upside for BTC to pump almost an entire percent, was it not? And you know, that doesn't seem really major, but when you're talking about an asset class as large as Bitcoin, that's equivalent, right, to what is Bitcoin, $2 trillion or so? That's equivalent to like $17 billion being injected into BTC. And right now, as we speak for Bitcoin, we are flagging out above the 1 minute 200 SMA and the 5 minute 200 SMA. We'll see how this plays out as the day goes on, but it's super critical that that news came out after market open, because markets didn't have the time to digest or respond to Microsoft, right, during periods of high amounts of liquidity where people could be getting into the stock, people could be riding it. And right now Microsoft is screaming. Let's open up Microsoft here just real quick on the charts, baby, on the charts. Microsoft, look at this candle that happened. This was crazy. This was right at the end of the day, and this is right now. Yeah, this is right at the end of the trading day. Microsoft had that immaculate earnings candle, had a bit of a gap down. That's okay. So we'll see what comes out for Microsoft as it goes into this critical period after earnings were announced. And, you know, there's two ways to look at it. One was that earnings were a reflection of a time period where these tariffs weren't being put into place, right? And now you're in the aftermarket trading. You're going to get super low liquidity. You're not going to be trading to a lot of people, so prices likely to start wicking around a lot. But you got a massive reaction from Microsoft, beating earnings on the first quarter by about $1.5 billion. That's crazy. Economists missed it by $1.5 billion. Not even that, but the earnings per share was almost double what was expected. So super awesome to Microsoft holders out there. Shout out to you guys, absolutely killing it. But right now, how does that, Boys Crypto, why does that impact Bitcoin? Why does that even matter? This is a crypto channel. I totally agree, right? That matters for Bitcoin because Bitcoin has been trading with the stock market. What's going on, Michaela Sinassi Kid? Thanks for being here. Bitcoin has been trading with the stock market pretty much hand in hand, candle for candle, with the S&P and the NASDAQ. And since the dumpage, right, that news from Microsoft gives us a little bit of hope, gives the market in general a little bit of hope. And Facebook even coming in and beating earnings, I believe. Facebook did beat earnings, did they not? Facebook, baby. Let's look at the chart for Facebook real quick. Facebook. Yeah, look. Facebook. Or is it? It's Meta now, isn't it? Yeah, Meta platforms. Yeah, got a massive reaction off of that earnings report that came in at 1530. Or 1530, man, the military, I'll tell you. Woo! Yeah, Meta doing some absolute damage, as well as Microsoft, speaking to the seriousness of the AI space and where it sits right now. And despite all the tariffs, despite the turmoil and the uncertainty that was in the market, even in December, as Donald Trump was starting to hint at, right, putting these pressures on foreign countries, these companies don't seem to care. They don't seem to care. That's what the data says anyway. So we'll see how this kind of shapes up tomorrow. I'd like to hear more from the earnings call to see what these companies are doing and how they're mitigating the tariffs. That's going to be really interesting. But right now, what we care about is BTC, baby. BTC got that massive pump, been struggling all day, got that massive massive pump here from 1530 all the way up to where we are now at about 1800, baby. 1800. Oh man, 6 o'clock at night. 6 o'clock at night. That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, Eastern. So we're sitting over the 5-minute 200 SMA, flagging out pretty nicely here. As long as we don't lose that 5-minute 200 SMA, there's no reason to believe that since these stochastics are reset and violently pointing to the upside, this is very likely to pump. If this was a fake out, right? If this was a fake out, trap the bears, get everybody short, wick it to the upside, get back inside the pattern, we could potentially be here by the morning, right? Where we're retesting this zone at 95.4 and move out of the bigger idea here on the 1 hour time frame. We've even reclaimed that 1 hour 200 SMA, a very, very key level to get above for BTC. And now we're retesting the bottom of that trend line. We're retesting the bottom of this trend line, and we want to see if we could crack back inside that pattern. So we're not out of the woods yet for Bitcoin, right? There is some hints of bearishness right here, and you could even adjust this. Like you could adjust this triangle here on the 1 hour. I was using the 4 hour time frame when I was looking at this, right? This potential flag idea, this ascending triangle that has been forming over the past couple of days. Doesn't that look just beautiful right there? A breakout to the upside would suggest that we are likely to go up. And yes, the technical target takes you all the way back to the all-time highs up here at about 107. If we see over 100K again, I think that is very, very likely. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. The stochastics are reset here on the 4 hour time frame. RSI says, hey, we're ready to go. We're above the high volume node. And there's a giant gap here. There is a giant gap in the VRVP. If we were to fail and we were to roll over, let's get a little bit of an update here on the bigger time frame. Let's see what we're looking at here. So the high volume node, still, the point of control still does sit above us at about 96.4. But we talked about this. We're likely to consolidate beneath this high volume node and build up that buying pressure here with the stochastics getting reset, the RSI getting reset to fair value before we were to go and at least attempt to crack at this high volume node. And lo and behold, we've been here for the past few days. Bitcoin dominance continues to scream to the upside as Bitcoin definitely takes control over this market, as the altcoins, a lot of altcoins are just bleeding in this move due to the uncertainty that is currently in the market. But Bitcoin does not care. Bitcoin keeps screaming to the upside, and I'm looking at an all-time high attack by June. I think that's very possible. Middle of June. I'll say middle of June. June 15th, another 45 days of this price action. So I think we're likely going to be sitting around June 15th. I think we'll be sitting up here at 110,000. There's no reason for me to believe that we wouldn't be, right? You get above this high volume node, you retest it, right? Maybe even a little bit of deviation above, and then you crack above and go and test the highs, break the highs, maybe even make this a support resistance flip. That would be incredibly bullish for BTC, and we could have that rally that we've been waiting for past the all-time high, potentially up to those bigger term targets that we've been talking about here on the channel. Let's clear this out. On the channel here, the Fibonacci extension targets up here at about $130,000 to $168,000 for Bitcoin. I think that's very, very likely. I think this is likely where we see a top out, right? A top out given the current market conditions. Now, if the market conditions do marginally improve, the tariff war gets figured out and everything, and the US finds a way to give tax-free crypto incentives, that would be insane, right? Or B, the United States government actually starts purchasing Bitcoin, and that crypto task force has accomplished or will accomplish that mission to start accumulating Bitcoin without any cost to the taxpayer. So that would be some bullish news that I think could catapult us up here north, possibly to that $200,000 region. I'm not going to be tracking that right now because it's a little too early to say. First bull market target I'm targeting by around June 15th, cracking 110,000, and then by year's end, I believe we'll be sitting up in this beautiful zone up here, either rejecting at the 1.618, getting a little bit of a pullback, and then taking it up to the 2.618 at about $168,000. And now I know a lot of people think it could go higher, and it could. It definitely could. It could go higher. We could crack through those 1.618 and 2.618 Fibonacci extensions, but we have to take it it one day, one candle at a time, and we'll reevaluate once we get up there, right? The chart's not going to look like when Bitcoin does take off, right? It's going to take off, and once you get a blue skies breakout, the only level in the charts is 130K. Besides that, from 110,000, it's kind of a game of chicken to see who wants to hit the sell button first. And if nobody's willing to hit the sell button and everybody's greedy with their Bitcoin, which I anticipate they will be, that could promote some kind of bull market, some kind of super cycle that we've never seen before. And that would be on par with the countless reckless money printing by the US government. So very, very interesting right now as we speak. Let's dive on into that 5 minutes, see how we're looking pretty good with this 5 minute flag. It's going to take some time to fan out, may not even break out by the time that we're done with this stream. Maybe getting a little bit of a breakout here, retest, the 21 starts curving up. That'll look really, really juicy for another upside move for BTC. And that's what I'm looking at here as we go into the night. I think tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day for the stock market. We got initial jobless claims coming out, but the market needs time to digest, right? And when the Asian markets open, they're going to see Microsoft earnings and they're going to say, hey, maybe we're not as bearish as we think, right? Maybe we're not as bearish as we think, and we get some volume and follow through throughout the night after those major Microsoft and Facebook earnings, because you have other companies. Let's see what other companies are reporting. What other companies are reporting this week for the NASDAQ? Let's see. So that was Wednesday. That was today. Okay. What else we got? Thursday, we got Apple, Amazon coming in tomorrow. That's going to be interesting. So the way the markets work, right? Whenever earnings start coming in, earnings can be, you have your estimates, right? But people could get more optimistic or fearful based off of other companies that are in similar. So it's likely Microsoft beat its earnings, very highly likely that maybe Apple and Amazon, these targets may be a little bit low by economists, and it's too late to change now. So that's really interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see how the market digests this. We have Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's parent company, ANB, coming out. We have Shell. So we got some big behemoths that are reporting earnings this week. And we have to keep in mind that we don't necessarily have the tariffs being taken into account with these forecasts, because this is the earnings that they reported last quarter, right? And during last quarter, not all the tariffs were implemented yet, and those prices were not passed on to consumers in any way, shape, or form. So you have to take that with a grain of salt, but it's going to be very interesting to see how the market digests that. All right, diving on in. Shout out to every single one of you guys in the chat. I'm going to hop on into some of the altcoins that I've been tracking throughout the week. Sui, let's dive on into Sui and see how Sui's doing. Sui taking a little bit of a pullback. Take a breath. Take a breath, man. I saw crazy stuff on Twitter. That was it. That was it for Sui. Oh my gosh, that was the pump. It's dumping now. But what world are you living in? To me, what world are people living in when we're having buyers and sellers have reached equilibrium up here on the daily after a almost 70% pump, and people are saying that's it. There's no more. Nothing else can happen for Sui. Look at the daily candle today. We had a massive sell-off. Whenever you see giant wicks, how many giant wicks do you see to the bottom here that didn't get massive follow-through the following days? Especially in the bull cycle. And we have to assume that started because we first made our higher high, right? You get a giant wick to the downside above the daily 200 SMA. That daily 200 held. We're below the point of control. I'll give you that. I will give the Sui haters that. But we flag out above this daily. I am calling for it here on the channel. I think all-time highs are only a matter of time here for Sui. This cracks, and I've been diving a little bit into the white paper, into Sui in general, because it is currently my biggest altcoin holding. My biggest altcoin holding, and the coin I think will outperform the rest of the major caps this cycle. I think this has the potential to creep into the top 10, potentially top 6. And I think it'll happen very, very fast. on a break of this next move, you could see this come after Tron here. And Tron sitting at a $23 billion market cap, Sui would have to double up. And I think Sui's making leaps and bounds. We have to keep in mind, what's tomorrow? Does anybody know what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is Sui's global conference where they're likely going to make announcements of future partnerships, that haven't been disclosed yet. Non-disclosure agreements are a thing here in crypto. People can't necessarily talk about everything until release date. And here we are flagging about the daily 200 to 21 creeping up in the price action. It looks juicy, my friends. It looks juicy. This thing can do some massive damage. And I think this is the coin that is likely to produce some of the hottest gains this cycle. I am anticipating Sui ripping up here. I think a $20 Sui is coming, a $15 to $20 conservative target for Sui. They make more partnerships with people like Pokemon, some other bigger games in the mix. You're talking about anything with Bungie, anything with Xbox, PlayStation, some of those hotter games, and you can see Sui rip into, the top 6, potentially even top 5. And I know people are saying, that's crazy. That'll never happen. What happened to Solana? Solana ripped from $20 to $200 in 3 months. In 3 months. It doesn't take long for sentiment to catch on to some of these hot new narratives. I think Sui is the next Solana, and I think this thing is going to do some major damage. It's going to take time. These are daily candles. We've been consolidating here for 4 or 5 days now. Let this consolidate, and let's see if we can get that breakout with the stochastics staying pinned here on the daily. I don't want to see these roll over. But on the weekly says, man, we're ready to go. We're ready to blast. And there are people talking. I know you could get pullbacks down to this $3 280 region. I get it, right? You're looking at Fibonacci retracements. I don't know if the market's going to give people this opportunity, right? I cannot say that for sure. What I'm tracking right now is that flag above the daily 200 SMA for Sui, the stochastics to maybe dip a little bit down into fair value and rip back up and get pinned. The 4-hour completely reset. Look at this. Look at this strength here for Sui. We've been oversold since Saturday for 4 days, and the price has consolidated sideways. That is strength when you're looking at a momentum perspective. Even the RSI is resetting. This is a massive set of hidden bullish divergence right here as the RSI is resetting and you're swinging sideways on price action. That's suggesting that you crack this high before you crack this low here on the wick. I think that's very, very likely for Sui. Keep Sui on your radar. This thing is not dead. This thing isn't going anywhere. And a couple days ago, I did draw this box, and this is where I'm seeing Sui going. I think we're going to be looking back and be like, wow, can you imagine this is where we're getting in on Sui, and now we're up here. I think we're going to be up here in this 12, 15. Honestly, that's kind of conservative in my view now. I just have a feeling, everybody. I have a trader instinct, intuition. This thing is going to print millionaires this cycle, and I have my altcoin bag that is positioned to take advantage of that. I think this thing can do some massive numbers, and some people would argue that my numbers are incredibly conservative, and I'm gonna keep them that way for a reason, because I have a plan to get out of Sui at certain if it goes to $20 and I sell, I'm gonna feel really, really good, right? Even if it runs to 30 or 40 now, when I see Sui at 40 and I'm out of it, I'm gonna be whoa, well, like, oh my gosh, imagine what if. But I have a trading plan. That's how I'm going to attack this puppy going to the upside. And I think this thing can do some massive damage and take over a very large portion of the crypto industry. Even Sui dominance. Look at this, baby. Look at this. Sui.D. And I'm just diving on into this, right? Drop your altcoins in the chat if you guys want to go over anything in particular. Look at this. Look at this. This is Sui dominance. We are almost at an all-time high for Sui dominance, representing the amount of market share that Sui has. You are way closer to your all-time high here, just about 10% away than you are, or 20% away than you are in the charts. The 21's coming up. If this thing starts ripping, right, you rip out of what you could argue was a flag. You could say, Boys Crypto, this was the flag right here, and we absolutely ripped out of that puppy to the upside, and I could get on board with that. That says that Sui's about to double its market cap dominance. That says, hey, $20 billion at least, and we'd be in a blue skies breakout, and that would match up pretty nicely with what I deem would be the 1.618 up here at about 0.63%. I think that is very, very likely for Sui in the coming weeks and months. Let's take a look at Solana before Solana took a massive rip. All right. Track with me here. This is very important to understand. And I'm going into this with you guys because I care about you guys. I love you guys. And look, Solana on the initial buy had that massive run up. This was just like Sui coming back down, okay? When Solana got running again, right, and there was some massive hype behind it, man, it was crazy, the hype behind Solana. You had stochastics resetting, you got the pop, and this, once Solana moved, look at this, from $18, oh, okay, it was about 6 months, it took, or about, let's see, 147 days, however many months that is. Any of you guys that are really good at math, oh my gosh, I spilled a little water on my keyboard here, no, Shout out to all my guys who use their sweatpants to clean up spills. But yeah, Solana moved and it caught. Everybody was saying there's going to be a pullback. Like the people saying right now, Sui to 280, Sui's going to come back to 280. This reminds me of Sui's move right here. When you had that initial takeoff, right? And we had even a bigger cat. Are you going to get that opportunity? Or are you just going to keep, I don't know. But to me, I will always be happy, right? I'm going to be happy with the purchase price of Sui right now. And that's what I'm calling. And if you're looking for spot bags, and I'm not giving any financial advice, it's for entertainment purposes only, of course, right? But if you're looking for something to hold throughout the bull market and altcoin with a lot of potential, if Sui does get to $20, where I project it may get to this cycle, are you going to care if you got in at $3.49, $3.25, or $3? Probably not. If you look, do you think anybody who held Solana from back here cares, right? If they got in at right here, if they, I got in at 18, I got in at 16, I got in at 21. None of them care anymore. They don't care because Solana's sitting at $147. All of them made immaculate returns. And now I'm not saying the all in on Sui or anything like that. I just see this as a Solana killer, baby. I have my bags positioned and I'm not giving anybody financial advice. But if you're willing, if you're looking for an altcoin to hold, Boys Crypto calls this one out, baby. We call it out. And I get that we've had the pump. But I got to stick with my guns here. I think Sui has an immaculate white paper, an immaculate team. They even have unlocks coming tomorrow. That's important to keep in mind. There may be a little bit of dip, a little bit of buying opportunity tomorrow. Potentially, right? This is regulated on Coinbase as well. You could get some... a lot of exchanges have Sui. I think this thing can do some massive numbers this cycle. I won't keep beating a dead horse. But, man, we're going to look back at this. And we're going to say this. I'm projecting. I'm like a weatherman projecting Boys Crypto's voice in the future. Does everybody remember when we were consolidating in a flag above the 200 SMA? The stochastics were a little cooked, came down to fair value, but then came back up and got pinned. We got that rippage to the upside when Sui's sitting at $7-8. I'm not going to be telling anybody to buy anymore. I will not. And for everybody that shouts out, can we look at Sui? When's a good time to get into Sui? And Sui's trading at $8. I'm gonna say it on the stream. I'll say it here. I'm gonna be like, hey, where were you here? Right? Where were you in this zone? Where were you in our box of remembrance? Like, this is you don't get better setups than this. Like, if the stochastics reset, we keep trending sideways. The longer you trend sideways, the more likely of a breakout to the upside. And look at this, in just 3-4 days, you took out 3 or 2 and a half months of price action in 4 days. That's the power of this asset right here. It's insane. It's insane what the altcoins can do, and especially the ones that I think are going to be winners this cycle. All right, diving on into, hey, Sin Nasty Kid Housecoin, man. You know who I heard say about Housecoin today? I heard the crypto lifer say it, baby, Sam Price. He said, I don't know anything about it, but this thing has been all the rage. Let's check out Housecoin, baby. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Goodness, it's out on Mex. This was not the other day. It's on MEXC, it's on Polymex, it's on Bitmark, it's on Femex. All these future exchanges just listing it 2 days ago. Who listed it? Maybe somebody listed it today. Wow. Man, you caught the winner, brother. I will tell you. Shout out to Sin Nasty Kid, the absolute legend, for calling this thing at the bottom, a 8.8x up to current prices. And man, you know, people will be like, oh, Boys Crypto. I'm serious. I love each and every single one of you guys in the chat, but this is this is not the place to be averaging in the house coin. I won't get in the house coin here, right? I think the project's cool. I love the white paper, but what do you have to wait? You have to wait for some kind of consolidation. The risk to the downside is so great. Not for Sin Nasty Kid, who got down in here at 10 cents, but for Boys Crypto, if he was able to get in here, look at that, he got in at a penny, and now it's 10 cents. So even if it fell to 70 cents, Sin Nasty Kid is still in 700% profit, whereas Boys Crypto's down 30% on an asset that absolutely ripped, right? So, and I'm just using that hypothetically, right? But that's the idea, right? I'm not going to chase it. I can't chase this. I'm happy for you, man. Congratulations. You're an absolute legend for catching that shot. I can't, not that I don't think it could do some damage. Clearly, the market is saying that this thing has some value, baby. This thing has some value and likely going to be some massive chop. Yeah, you got to zoom in on the top. Let's zoom in on smaller time frames. You have to. There's no choice. You have no choice. You have no choice, right? So currently you're in a series of making higher highs, higher lows. Did you come back to a 618, 786? It looks like it to me. You did. You got the 618 bounce right here so far on Housecoin. Stochastics are resetting on the 15-minute time frame. Looks good. I want to see this curvature here. You're a little, you're oversold on a lot of these smaller time frames. So it looks good for a bounce. You're coming down to the 5-minute 200 SMA. I'd want to hold that, right? But even though you bounced below, you're able to get right back above and continue on your merry way, man. Higher highs, higher lows. You made a lower low, a lower high, and you cup and handled out of there and made your higher high. Dude, this thing is ripping. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. And I'm so happy you're making these big gains in the market, brother. Shout out to you. That's awesome. That's absolutely amazing. You're in half at a penny. Yeah, man, that's wild. You're at a 10x. That's crazy. And you know what's cool? You could have 90% of your bag, and right now you could have 90% of your bag if you took out your initial investment. And I always recommend that people do that when I know greed is a thing in this market, right? Greed is definitely a thing in this market, and it's not a meme coin. It has utility. Yeah, Sin Nasty Kid, shout out to you, brother. You and I were both here during, and I love Josh PMG and everything he stands for, man. But the Mandy coin, right? Mandy coin had a massive rip up as well, and something happened, right? Like the people who didn't get out their initial investment really started getting really hurt, right? And I know a lot. I know just based off the chat, there were a lot of people who lost a lot. So something to keep in mind, brother, but you still be able to hold 90% of your bag risk-free. Shoot, that is looking good to me, man. That is looking good to me. Shout out to you, finding probably the hottest setup of I would say the hottest setup of the week, man. You got in a week ago before this thing went on that that monumental 10x, and it hasn't looked back since. Shout out to you, man. Housecoin, baby. Housecoin. What a rippage. Shout out to everybody here in the chat. Michaela B, Wanda, April, Sin Nasty Kid, Michaela B, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. All right, let's see if Bitcoin can hold above this 5-minute 200 SMA. Come on, Bitcoin. We got some renewed market optimism, baby. We got some renewed market optimism. Let's see if we could hold this here. Had a little bit of a false breakdown, maybe. That 5-minute 200 MA, I definitely want to see hold. And if it doesn't, you could look at this as a cup and handle, right? A big cup and your handle. You could have a sideways handle, or you could have a downward trending handle that is expanding here like this. That would likely come back to the 618-786 golden pocket Fibonacci retrace. And since look at this too, from the swing high to the swing low, look at this, the bearish Fibonacci, where'd you come to? You came to the 786. Right? Your fibs are everywhere. Your fibs are everywhere, from your swing high here on the 5-minute time frame to your swing low, where you're likely to get that next lower high to come in right here at that 786, and you touched it almost to the dollar, did you not? So that's really important to just keep pulling your fibs. This is where you would start taking profits. If you were in a long from down here, and I'm not in a trade or anything right now, everybody. I'm trying to accumulate spot the best I can. Some of the altcoins that I'm thinking are a little hotter right now. I'm just tracking the altcoins right now. I think Bitcoin could do some massive damage, but I'm tracking a Bitcoin dominance rollover. And everybody I see is like, Bitcoin dominance isn't going to stop. It's going to keep moving to the upside. But until we break that 66.5 level, I'm calling baloney on that, baby. I'm calling baloney on that. I think there's going to be some massive move for Bitcoin dominance to the downside here very, very soon. So let's see, as 5:30, man, we got a couple hours till the Asian market opens. I want to see Bitcoin hold this higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Where's your next higher low likely to come in? Now you can pull your micro fib from this swing low to swing high here. And, you know, if you're going to lose this 5-minute 200 MA, and I do not want to lose that 200 MA on the 5-minute, but if we do, where am I looking to get a reaction, at least in the 618-786 golden pocket Fibonacci, before moving further to the upside out of that cup and handle, baby? It could happen. It looks very, very likely. You have that higher low, higher high, higher low, and then you could look to go and take out that higher high, this high that's up here. You crank this high, man, you could go on a tear, baby. You could go on a tear. Then you're approaching the level that we've talked about here over and over and over again on this channel. You're tickling on that 95.5, 96,000, essentially 95.5, 96,000. Same thing in regards to this high volume node here. Let's zoom on out and see what I'm looking at. So on the daily time frame, we are a ball right now. We are a ball, and we've been a ball since down here, right? Right here, we rolled down the hill, we got up it, and then we went on a cataclysm. Now we got some momentum, baby. Are we running out of steam here coming up this hill? That's the beauty of the VRVP. Are we running out of steam? We're currently right here. You can see the green line in line with the VRVP. We're reaching some of these higher volume nodes, and we haven't been able to push the ball up the hill. We need something to push this ball up the hill and over. Once we get past 96, you get past 96, get above and retest, because you could be coming at this from the other side. You feel pretty good as a bear right now. You're like, no way those bulls are getting through that point of control, that high volume node, because look at this. They weren't able to do it back here, and there's likely sell orders in this area, and that does remain to be true. Look at this prior support resistance flip here for BTC when you're looking at this range right here. I'm not talking about back here, right? Because you could argue that we did break above this prior support resistance flip zone. Support, fell beneath, resistance, right? We got back above and we're holding it as support. But right now, I just want to look at this range right here on the on the daily, right? This area served as support for us, right? This 95.3 zone for 2 weeks. We bounced off this level. Essentially every day for 2 weeks, we bounced off this level, and now, you know, you're looking at what could potentially be a support resistance flip. I don't want to say that. Don't jinx it. We're not going to put it out into the universe. But it could definitely be a support resistance flip here. Absolutely, right? We can make a lower high. And, you know, where's our Fibonacci at from this swing? You're coming up to, you're on your 786 right now, right? You got a little above it. You're on the 786 right now. So if a lower high is going to come in, it's going to be right here. It's going to be right here, right where we are. Right? Rejected by the high volume node, holding at the 786 for a dump to the downside. I don't want to be doom and gloom. I don't think that's going to happen, especially given the earnings today from Microsoft. I think the NASDAQ and the S&P will likely rally tomorrow, at least on the open off that news. Renewed market optimism. Amazon earnings coming in. I don't know if it's pre-market or post-market tomorrow, but man, if those come in good, if those come in hot, the market could definitely turn around. And I saw something, you know, Donald Trump today, man. What is he talking about? Blaming the stock market problems on Joe Biden when he just took credit for them just a few months ago. I was like, dude, come on, man. Like, Like and you guys know me. I like Trump, man. I did. I like what he stands for and everything, but man, I didn't agree with that statement, right? I'm a big accountability guy. I'm a huge accountability guy, right? You're putting tariffs on the stock market. Those actions directly correlate with uncertainty in the market. That with your battle with Jerome Powell that you keep going back and forth of whether or not you're going to fire him, that uncertainty is creating this stock market turmoil right now. So I like Trump, right? That was the side I voted for, man. I like Trump, man. I like Trump. I didn't actually get the vote this year because I was, with the military. But I just hate that lack of accountability, man. I'm not gonna get into politics, but come on. What do you say, man? Like, no, it's not because of the terrorists. It's because of Joe Biden. Why are you tweeting that out, man? Come on. But yeah, and it is the president tweets, you know what I mean? Like even the president acknowledging the stock market troubles, that could have been the reason we had some struggle earlier in the day upon market open. And then the earnings come in and it's like, oh, maybe it's not that bad, right? So I think the validity is kind of starting to fade. It's kind of, you got in at half a penny, Sin Nasty Kids. So you got in at 20x, brother. Congratulations to you. I thought it was half your investment at a penny. No, I read that wrong. I appreciate you, man. Hey, shout out to you, dude. That's 20x in 2 weeks. No one's going to beat that, man. No one's going to beat that unless you go over here on the deck screener and you play the lotto and you dive on in here and you say, I'm going to 20x my money in a week, boys crypto. And you know what I'm going to say to you? I will say, good luck, sir/ma'am. I will say, good luck. Look at that. Number 1 on deck screener. Boom, to the upside, a $101 million market cap. Remember just the other day, we were talking about this at a $10 million market cap, added 90 million, 10x, baby, 10x. That's crazy, brother. That's crazy. Shout out to you. So yeah, you'll see some of these coins up here, right? You can scroll down, you can probably find some of them. This coin up 29x in a day, 30x in a day. Dork. I think that's... Yeah, Dork. Here we go. Let's click on it. Look at that. Just came out. There's probably no liquidity. Yeah, it came out just not long ago, right? Let's see. There's holders here. Nobody holds a vast amount of... It's strange how all those amounts are the same, though. I don't like that. Interesting. Yeah, Dork. Look, 5 minutes, a 40% down draw. Like, that's the volatility you'll get here on some of these newer coins on there. And some of them, I bet I could pull one out, right? Nobody sausage. I'll just click on that. Like, look at this. Yeah, look, that's what this is what happens to most of them. And Housecoin was the exception, right? Housecoin was the exception. Housecoin ripped, and the only place you're gonna find rippages like that are here on. This is called Doggy Poppy. Doggy Poppy, Sin Nasty Kid. That's what I'm talking about, brother. Yeehaw with the play names and stuff. Doggy Poppy. Or there's nobody on Sol. I don't even know why that name changed. I have no idea. All right, so yeah, you got that massive rip, right? And so somebody thought, oh, I Doggy Poppy, that's gonna take off to the moon. People would love it, right? People would love it. And someone got in down here, right? And then there's probably zero, like very little liquidity, right? Very low market cap, and you got it to rip. Right? You multiplied your money by 37. You put $100 in, it's $3,700, right? So somebody made that and they said, sell. And then we could go back into it on the minute chart. Look what happens. And this happens with almost everything on deck screen and everything. Sui came out on deck screener. So did SEI. So did Hyperliquid. So did all the other hot gems that are now sitting in the top 100. So if you want to get into something early, this is a site that you want to go into, but just do your own due diligence and understand when you're investing in before you dive on in. If it says Telegram, right? Telegram here, make sure they have something else other than Telegram, man. There's so many Telegram bots that just create and hack. Not hack, but what do you call it? They hide header. How do I get this out of here? I don't know. But there's so many Telegram bots that'll just make coins and try to rug pull people. And it's just something you want to keep aware of. So yeah, once that started struggling on the 1 minute, you never got you didn't even get a healthy retracement to the upside, just to the depths. And nobody on Sol, nobody Nobody else. So it's kind of funny to me, man. I don't know. But yeah, rolling over, looking to the downside. If you believe in this project, right? I'm not even looking at this coin for any of you guys. Just something that you could even do TA with this kind of stuff. Where is a likely reaction likely to come in from the bottom that from the swing low to the swing high? You're likely to get at 786. That 786 doesn't catch and you miss a double bottom. That is a rugger, baby. That is a rugger. Good night. That is disgusting. So that's what I'm looking at. Hey, everybody, what's going on? MH, thanks for diving on in. Wanda doesn't have house coin. That's okay, Wanda. That's okay. You find the hottest setups in the game, man. And this takes research. I don't think, Sid Nasty Kid, you can correct me if I'm wrong, man, but you don't just stumble across house coin and you're like, oh yeah, let's get in. Yeah, house coin. It sounds good. Right? You likely do some kind of research, right? You've had a lot of time to accumulate this puppy, right? Underneath a penny. So, I don't know what got you to get on in on this, man, or somebody told you about it or something, but it was highly unlikely, right? Like Sid Nasty seems like a smart guy to me, but it's highly unlikely he was going like this, scrolling through, and Sid Nasty, maybe he did, man. Maybe he did. He was hitting the gainers and he was like, this one's up 500%. I'm gonna put it in $100 here. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna see if this could multiply by 50x. Highly unlikely. That's how Sin Nasty dived on into house coin. There must have been something, right? The tokenomics, the white paper that steered him in the right direction. You got some nice consolidation up here and boom, to the upside for house coin. It looks good, man. It looks good. I don't want to lose that 5-minute 200 SMA, but man, you're making higher highs and higher lows almost the entire way up. Besides this consolidation period, equal buyers and sellers. You made a high volume node right there. In the event that you were to fall out of this, that could be a likely area that buy orders are left over. I would almost guarantee buy orders are left right over in here around that 6.5 cent region. Get that rebound to the upside. This is going to be highly volatile for anybody who decides to trade this coin, right? Anything that's up 10x from 2 weeks ago is going to be a highly volatile coin. It's just what I've just seen it time and time again, man. Everybody remembers that from XCN, do you not? The more this thing pumped, it's like an earthquake. It's like what is this? XCN, come on, man. It's on Binance, futures on XC. All right. So this is just my point right here. Okay, so XCN. The reason I'm bringing this up as an example is because I remember this from forever ago. XCN had that historic run up from the swing low to the high 18x. Okay, and whenever you get overextended like this, you're gonna run into turbulence at some point. You will, right? Highly likely. So my proof of that is look at this candle. This candle went up 26% in a day. This is a singular day. And then went down by 45%. Why? Because people were deciding whether to get in or out of XCN from the bottom right here, right? Or people were diving in, chasing, right? The people who chased up here got absolutely smacked in less than 24 hours to the downside, lost like 60% of their investment. That's devastating. This is why we don't chase green candles on the channel. Right? But then the next day, right, you had a pump up of about 29% and then it fell again. 21%. Eventually you'll run into this point with house coin, with everything, as you start to consolidate, right? And XCN was looking okay. It was looking okay in this flag, right? It was looking okay in this flag, and then it unfortunately ended up dumping to the downside out of this bear div right here, right? So you did get that rollover, and you had that turbulence. So this is an example of something that I like here on XCN, right? Out of this most recent pump here, you did have that consolidation. When you see consolidation here and you see stochastics resetting and you get that curvature around fair value, boom, to the upside, looks very, very good. Now you may be in that about cup and handle, baby, and then, you can take your fib here. From swing low to swing high. Is this the next good entry for XCN? Well, you're at the 886 right now. You got to pray that holds. But that's the kind of ideas you got to be going with whenever you're trading, right? Because if you chase up here, the risk, right? The risk of house coin coming down to 9 cents is huge to me. 0 for Sin Nasty Kid, essentially, right? He'll lose 4%. I'll lose, he won't even lose 4% because it's unrealized. He'll still be up 950% and I'd be down 10% on one of the hottest assets in the game. I never want to be in that position, man. I never want to be in that position. But shout out to you Shout out to you for catching the hottest coin in the game over the past few weeks, brother. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. All right, diving on in. You got 6,000 at half a penny, bro, and a limit stop loss at $1. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. That's insane. That's awesome. And hey, moving up the stop, keeping the moving up the stop. The monthly RSI on Bitcoin MH says, hey, we'll look at it, brother. Yeah, so Sin Nasty Kid, that was a hot call, man. A hot call. All right, let's dive on over into Bitcoin. MH says he does not like the way the monthly RSI looks. Let's see the monthly RSI. So, let's see here. All right, so, okay. I totally agree with, okay. I see what you're saying. You're saying we have bear div here on the monthly, right? You're likely thinking, hey, Boys Crypto, we have bear div on the monthly. Isn't that not a red flag? Yes, it is. It suggests that the bull market's over, right? That RSI does suggest that the bull market's over, right? It just does. That bear div, it says that we're likely to crack that low before that high. I respect and I understand the bearish div on the monthly. I totally understand that, and you likely had it here, right? Back when, on a different, let's look at the all-time history index. That'll give us more of a, okay, here we go. So, here we go. You got some massive bear div back here on the monthly, and that did start your bear market. Totally tracking, and I get that. I think that is a very, very, very good call out. I appreciate you putting that on our radar. You have that swing up on price action. Well, you have a very severe swing down on the RSI. That suggests you'll crack this low before you crack this high, even as this candle was pushing up here. And that was one of the most monumental short trades you could ever make. So now are we approaching that area? That remains to be seen. I still think... So the RSI is bending right now, right? I think look how overbought we were here on the monthly, MH, right? Look how overbought we were. We haven't even come close to those levels on the monthly. And on the weekly, right, you could go back to that time. You were having some real, insane exaggeration, right? And you even have it here on the weekly. That's interesting. You had the bear div on the monthly. You had the bear div on the weekly. Yeah, man, I'm with you on that. So now you're saying, so now the idea becomes either you're having to side with the weekly and monthly bearish divergence, or you're saying, hey, Boys Crypto, we had just a standard 718 retrace here from this reaction right here. You got the 706 and the rebound to the upside. So Boys Crypto, that's it, man. That's it. We're going for another high. The RSI could stay pinned up here for a very long time. Even on the daily, you could get that squeeze up here into this massive green. Look at these green. So here you had bear div, right? Here's an example of bear div that got defied, right? You had bear div right here on the daily. You had bear div right here. You had that swing down. Let me clear this up so it looks a little nicer. You have that swing down on price action / swing across. So MH, I'm not disagreeing with you, brother. I am not disagreeing with you. And you have that swing up, right? You got that reaction, right? You got the reaction off of that bearish div. And then what's going to happen here, what I think is going to very, very likely happen. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Got a little lost for words. It's hard for me to fight weekly and monthly bearish div. That's called the top last time. Is it not going to call the top this time? We'll have to wait and see. But, I just think there's a lot more. I still have to go with there's a lot more in the and not even particularly for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin traded sideways, I'd be totally fine with that. It's all going to be about this, man. It's not just going to nuke right to the downside. You're going to put in that lower high, and that's why where we're sitting at right now on the daily is so critical. So if we create a lower high here, and we drop below that daily 200 SMA, I'm going to be calling that out, MH. I'm going to be like, wow, MH was calling it to the downside, that monthly, weekly bearish divergence. But above, I cannot scratch. Above the daily 200 SMA, I have to be a bull, man. I have to be a bull. And I don't want to say it could go either way. Well, because in trading it can. But we have so much macroeconomic. Once we're in a bad macroeconomic environment right now. I see some good news coming out about this trade war, right? Because how much worse can it get? And we got interest rates coming the rest of the year. So that's going to make it cheaper on people to borrow and invest money back into the market. Even banks will be putting their money back in the stock market because historically that's where they made a very large amount of their holdings, right? Through stock market appreciation, through what people put in their savings account. So unless we were to get a war, the trade war is going to be longer than we expect. I really, until we make this lower high and we crack below the daily 200 SMA, I'll tell you what, MH, I'll revisit that idea if we break below the daily 200 SMA. I'm not shrugging it off as invalid. And if you guys like that idea by MH, not a bad idea to open up a head short here. What's stopping you, right? You're saying, hey, this high volume node won't hold. You can put a stop above the high volume node. You put a stop above the high volume node, right? The point of control, and you can ride this for the bear market. I like it because that's how you make money to the down. That's how you can make money through the bear market. Is just about to roll over, and you catch the bear market first lower high. That would be the ideal entry right there at the 618 bounce right below the high volume node, and you have a stop to protect you. Even a hedge here, if you're heavy in spot and you don't leverage trade, even just a small hedge, to cover your position in the event that it does go down. Because if it does go down, right, if it does roll over, then your spot's protected by that massive short that you have, right? That could cover your position at a high leverage. Why could it be high leverage? You could go up to, a 3%. You could have a 30x leverage position that covers your tail. Interesting thought, brother. Interesting thought. Thank you for dropping that on our radar. Yeah, it did break trend. I got you. The stochastic RSI. How's the stochastic RSI looking? So yeah, the stochastic RSI is violently pointing down, but if you could get that curvature, and that's likely to happen, right, over the course of the month, if Bitcoin can hold these prices up here, if that curvature does come to fruition, you'll be looking at something like down here, man. And I think anything could really happen right now in this market. Got me kind of a loss for words for that bearish div is strong. On the weekly, that is strong bear div. That is strong bear div. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out, man. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. And, you did get a reaction, but bear div doesn't always come to fruition, especially in macro bullish environments. I just think there's too much news for us not to go and at least test the highs. Could a lower high likely come in here? Yeah, but I'm going to wait for that daily 200 MA retest, brother. If we fall beneath here, I'm going to be totally on board with your idea, and that was it, and that we missed that short train. But I got to be holding my spot right here and focusing on long positions above the daily 200 SMA. It's just me and how I operate as a trader, brother. All right, yeah, and I'm focusing on this flag. We flag out and we push, and that's the thing here. If we flag out, right, and these stochastics reset or start to curve, everybody who is taking that exact short that I just showed you will lead to it'll allow this flag to break out so much easier because of the short squeeze potential to the upside. We could squeeze the shorts massively above that high volume node, and that's exactly the move that we would need to either come back down and retest this and go and shoot for higher prices. That's just how I'm seeing the market, man. Entertainment purposes only, but yeah, baby, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, MH. I appreciate you. Yeah, I want to be bullish too, man. And I acknowledge that. These markets are tough, and this is tougher than the previous cycles, man. It really is. So I'm keeping that on my radar. I will keep that on my radar, but until we crack this, I'm going to be holding my spot. I'm going to be holding, and focusing on longs above this $89,800 region. That 200 MA to me is that do not pass go line. We crack through that daily 200 SMA and we start closing candles below, man, that's going to look like that's going to look like a lower high. And then you're going to be looking at your fib extension target. Woo! You're going to be looking at your fib extension targets to the downside. I don't want to see that, man. I want to see that. That'd be bear market low territory. Like you'd be looking at 54,000 for your next low based off of this move right here. At least a capitulation. I don't want to see that. And then you're knocking on the bear market doors, which I think we gain the 54K. That'd be bear market right there. Like you'd be looking for a lower high to get out, and then that'd be a relief rally to get out, and then that'd be the capitulation to the downside, and you can see that reset real quick, and it could happen. It could happen. Thanks for keeping that on our radar, MH. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. All right, diving on into the chat. MH, thank you, man. Sin Nasty Kid, a half a penny, insane. Monthly RSI and stochastics kind of, cooked. The monthly stochastics are pointing violently to the downside, so we'll keep that in mind. That curvature Could be a perfect opportunity, though. Yeah. Did break trend on the RSI. Couldn't agree with you more, man. I could not agree with you more. All right, 1 second here, everybody. I got to reset. My phone is super hot. Got to reset this here. Got to reset this. I don't know if you guys have Androids, man. These things get super hot. Like, they get very, very hot. Maybe it's my phone case, but they could get super, super hot. Hey, everybody, smash that like button for me if you could. If you guys have not done that already, it greatly helps me out. Greatly helps the channel, right? Trying to branch out and get some more people in here in the chat, baby. I do enjoy the small group feel, but we're trying to grow this channel a little bit more, baby. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at. I appreciate you guys. Woo! I appreciate you guys. So, news coming in the rest of the week. News coming in the rest of the week that is going to massively impact the market. So we've had a plethora of news, right, to kind of comb over, and I've been looking at it, and this was the big one. GDP, we are down. We were expected to grow as an economy by about 0.4%, and we didn't just miss that, but we lost 0.3%. That's crazy from a gross domestic product perspective. That is wild. That is absolutely wild. So given that the previous was 2.4% and now we're sitting in the negatives, that is not good. That's not good. We had a lot of stuff come in. Consumer spending and personal income were surprisingly up. That's awesome. That's awesome to see. But it's kind of bass-backwards sometimes when it comes to the markets, everyone. We know this because why? Well, Jerome Powell comes out this upcoming week, right, on Wednesday, May 7th. You know, get your buttholes ready, everybody. The May 7th is going to be a volatile day. Just saying. I don't mean to say get your buttholes ready, but yeah. May 7th is going to be an incredibly volatile day. Every time that man comes out and opens up his mouth, the market, trillions of dollars, just, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. But I don't blame people for adjusting based off of interest rate outlooks. All right. So we had good news from an economy point of view, right? With the exception of GDP, right? People were spending more money. People were making more money, right? And that's good given that inflation, according to the Fed, is coming down, right? It's going to increase with tariffs, but it's coming down. We do have rate cuts potentially coming up, but good news here could make Jerome Powell be like, I don't want to cut rates anymore. If and it sucks that we're in an economy like that. Why do we rely on Jerome Powell to pump our markets? But it's the reality we live in, everybody. It's the reality we live in. Despite all of that, right? Tomorrow, we got the initial jobless claims. You guys know the drill. Every week, this thing moves the markets. Not as massively as what I believe Friday is going to bring this. The U.S. non-farm payroll is going and the unemployment rate, oh, Lord. This thing is going to, on a low liquidity Friday, less volume in the market. The markets are going to be way more sensitive on Friday. And people aren't going to be trying to position themselves on Wednesday for what they think Jerome Powell is going to do. In my opinion, this is likely going to be the make or break point when it comes to the rate cuts. And maybe not when it comes to the rate cuts, but for the severity of the rate cuts. Let's look at Polymarket and see what here we go. Let's see what Polymarket's given here. All right, so, and for those of you who don't know what this is, how many rate cuts in 2025, this shows you the uncertainty in the market right here, right? This is people gambling. This is a gambling site, right? I don't use this to gamble or anything, but it's historically done a great job at calling what happens in the markets. And right now, you guys can see people are uncertain. Do you see anything above 20% for the rest of the year? Nobody knows. 8 or more at 7%, not far off from 0, which isn't far off from 2 and 4, 5 and 6 combined. 5, 6, 7 combined equate 4. That's going to be, and there could be 2 rate cuts at one time. Like if the Fed comes and says, we're going to cut rates, but we're going to cut it by 50 basis points, it's actually going to be 2, right? So there is a lot of uncertainty in the market right now when it comes to the Fed and rate cuts, and these will adjust based on news that comes out in the economy, and the biggest one being, look at this chop. Look at this chop. All right, let's see if Fed rate cuts. Yeah, here we go. Wow, this is the probability. So they're giving it a 23% chance. Look at that. So we have been changing, right? At March, what is this? At March 10th, this is about a 50-50 shot. Now, the market's pricing in that there will not be a rate cut tomorrow or on May 7th, right? Which isn't too far away. There's still a 7% chance that that could happen. And some of the biggest pumps in history have ever came on statistics like this. Whenever that 7% does come to fruition, right? Like when Japan had their surprise rate cuts when everybody thought they weren't cutting rates and they cut rates. That was a giant day for the Japanese, Chinese, and United States stock markets. That was insane. That was last year. That was incredible. That hit major world headline news. But yeah, so right now the market pricing in no rate cuts, no rate cuts. Could it happen? Sure. Yeah, there's a 7% probability, but we'll have to see as we get there. You know what will impact this? This could easily flip to 50-50 if we get bad U.S. non-farm payroll data that comes in on Friday, baby. That comes in on Friday. The monthly candle closes in 1 hour, MHA. Shout out to you, brother. Good call. That is true. And let's look at Bitcoin real quick on the monthly. All right, let's look at it on the perpetuals because I just think that chart. I love the perpetuals chart. All right, here we go. So the monthly candle, and if anyone can believe this, this month has been crazy. This candle shows a lot of pain and greed in the market. Just, confusion over the tariffs. We've been through the ringer this month, and this candle is the perfect illustrator of that uncertainty in the market. We opened at $82,298. Our low was $74,231, and our high came in just the other day at 95,000. No. That was before 95,000. Where is it here? $95,815. So far, and as it looks to close, this is a bullish engulfing candle on the monthly. Going back through time, right? After you've had some severe candles, you get these big, I can't say that, man. When was the last time we had a bullish engulfing candle? We had a bearish engulfing candle right there. The last time we had a bullish engulfing candle on the monthly was at the beginning of the bull market. Was it not? No, it wasn't. It was right here. Look at this. We had a massive bullish engulfing candle, a great close. If I remember correctly, there was some weakness at the end of the month here. That is what caused Bitcoin to roll over and get that monthly candle close that was awful, right? But the last time we had a bullish engulfing candle on the monthly, and it's so strange to say we had a massive dump. So is that going to happen again? I don't think so. I think that this idea of the parabola is still intact. I think this idea on the monthly for BTC is still intact. I think we still have another leg up. I think we get that FOMO blow off top, right? Blow off top. And then we get that massive dump down. I just see that happening. And that's speculation here for Bitcoin. But I think that is highly likely to happen. I think our high comes in at about 130,000, pulling the fib from this range to this range. And it's crazy how the fibs work, right? Like where did it come in from here? From this range to this range. You came up. You came up into that zone. I mean, you almost touched the 2.618. Didn't quite get there. So I think that a similar move like that can happen here for BTC, breaking above here. I think that, or, if you take it from the, from the prior range, that takes you up to 147,000, a little more optimistic than I'm giving it on the daily and on the weekly, because then I'd just be taking it from this range right here. You're going up to 131 region, but we'll see. The monthly candle does close. Look at this in just 57 minutes. I'd like to see a strong monthly candle close. Could we get a massive dump at the end? Yeah, absolutely. But this closes, and there are people that do just trade on the monthly, and it isn't just the monthly. No, I'm tripping there. Is it the 2 month? Where's the 2 month chart? Month 2. You guys ever want to add an interval? Right? You click this arrow right here on TradingView, add custom interval. Minutes, days, week, months. I look at things at like 5, 7, 15, right? But you can look at it at 111 minute intervals, whatever you want to do. Like in whatever time period suits your needs. All right, diving on in. Let's see, the 2 month, baby. So the 2-month chart, that's interesting to me right here. The 2-month, a bullish engulfing candle here on the 2-month. The last time we had a bullish engulfing candle on the 2-month was back here before we had that meteoric rise to the upside. So that's interesting as well here on the 2-month chart. The RSI is peaking up in that overbought region, but look at this. And this just goes to show how it works with the stochastic. So on the 2-month chart, we have been oversold since September, or we've been overbought on the 2-month chart from the Bitcoin perpetual futures contract 2-month Binance chart, baby. We've never not been overbought. Not from November of 2023, this entire year, the entire year of 2024, and all of 2025 so far, we have been overbought on the stochastic RSI for the 2-month chart. Interesting to know. Okay, Bitcoin is losing that 5-minute 200 SMA here. That's not looking good. That's not what we wanted to see. We got that massive rally. Let's see if that 618786 can hold. Wow, that was a little bit of a dumperoonie here for BTC. Let's see if the altcoins can hold up. I highly doubt it. Not in this environment, baby. Not in this environment. Bitcoin dumps, altcoins lose half their value. And Bitcoin pumps, altcoins gain nothing. It's crazy. All right, let's see. Isn't that strange, though? Bitcoin dominance starting to take a little bit of a tumble here on the 15-minute time frame, losing the 5-minute 200. That's good for the altcoins. That's saying, hey, maybe the altcoins aren't going to dump as badly as Bitcoin is right here, or the altcoins are going on a little bit of a rip. Let's see how Total 3 is looking. Total 3 is holding its own. Look at that. That's interesting. Holding that flag above the 5-minute 200 SMA while BTC takes the nosedive. And, you know, I say that it's just a couple $100, but look at the 5-minute here and look at the 5-minute here for Total 3. Total 3 looks strong right here. Holding above the 5-minute 200 SMA as Bitcoin loses it. Is that foreshadowing for what's to come for the Total 3? Or if Bitcoin gets this bounce right here, is Total 3 going to go on an absolute ripper out of this flag? I think that's more likely here. That's surprising to me. Total 3 looking to make a little bit of a run, baby, as Bitcoin trades sideways / struggles here in the in the hour that we've been live. So that's very, very interesting. All right, diving on in the chat. Hey, shout out to each and every single one of you guys that are here with me. MH, thanks, man. Hey, thanks, MH, for being here. I appreciate you, brother. I enjoy seeing you here every single night. Or every night that we're live. Michaela, Androids have always been run hot for me. Oh, your iPhone gets hot sitting in the sun? Yeah, I don't know why. I got to upgrade mine. I think mine's a LG. Maybe it's an LG. I have no idea. You have a new coin you're watching right now called Capybara. Hey, you know what, Sin Nasty Kid? Let's dive on over into it, everybody. Sin Nasty Kid's got the next call, baby. The next call. Hey, not a next call. I'm just joking. All right, let's dive on in. Capybara, man. Capybara. What chain is it on? What chain? All right, I guess we don't need that. All right, Capybara on Solana. Capybara, probably a meme coin, highly likely. All right, so on the okay. All right, so Capybara. You guys like that? You guys ever watch Taz the Tasmanian Devil on Looney Tunes? He'd be like, right, yeah, I used to love that guy. All right, okay. Taz, Capybara on Solana. Okay, so what I am liking here, there's one thing that gives me concern, right? And it's this flip, and all it is right now is on the 5-minute chart, right? From a technical analysis perspective, excuse my ringtone, it's Patrick being like, no, this is Patrick, when he answers it at the Krusty Krab. So on the inverted chart, I don't like how this is giving me kind of cup and handle vibes right here. That is not something that I like. Coming down to the 618 and respecting that so far, that's not what I like to see. Okay, so that's the first thing that I'm seeing just based off the technical analysis perspective. But however, if you could get some consolidation here for this coin, and it seems like buyers and sellers kind of found some kind of equilibrium, and you know what I have found with the meme coins, right? If something comes out like if the holiday, the Capybara or something is tomorrow, like this thing's gonna rip, man. Like it just will. So you haven't really gotten a well-established resistance line yet, right? You could say that this is a key level right here. I'd say that this is your support resistance flip zone, right? This was your support out of, what could have been a bull flag right here, right? You got the fake out to the upside, and then you got that nukage. Since then, are you coming back to a key 618786? If you take it from I'm telling you, man, if you take it from this reaction right here, You're coming down to the golden pocket and you're getting that bounce. Okay, so what I'd like to see, right, is this. So this is your prior high, right? I'd like to see some kind of flag here form on the larger time frames. And when I say larger time frames, I can't even say that. Why? Because this is the 5-minute chart. Let's look at this on the daily, right? Like this thing is new, and if you're gonna get into this thing, I don't care who you are, you got to accept that there's likely going to be the implied volatility on this is insane, right? Like you're going to get some massive, these candles are probably very, very large. I could look at, just by looking at them, they are large. Look at this, like 2% in 5 minutes. That's extreme. Like that's extreme. Look at this dump, right? 2% in a 5-minute time frame. Like these are some pretty large candles, right? On the smaller time frame. You don't often get 2% dumps on some of the bigger assets. So it's something that's more volatile than most of the assets in the space is all I'm saying. All right. So what I'd like to see is this flag out here. Make a bigger flag, come up and test this again and get tight in this zone. I would love to see tightness get in this zone, man. Get tight in here and then look for that rip, right? Maybe a potential fake out to the downside or a breakout retest and boom to the upside. I think Capybara looks good. And you guys know how I feel about the meme coins. I'm not a fan of, and I'm sure Sin Nasty Kid feels the same way, right? Like, if he's going to get into this, it's highly unlikely that he's like, Capybara, the new Bitcoin. This thing is going to go to $90,000 per coin. And I'm going to have as many Capybara, the new financial world, or highly unlikely he thinks that, right? However, the ability for this to 2x overnight is there, right? Look at this thing, like since the bottom here, look at the bottom here. You got the reaction here. That's a 32% move, and that happened very, very quickly in a 4-hour time frame. So moves like that are definitely possible, What I do like is right here, look at the volume down here. You have falling volume. Falling volume is a good thing when it comes to consolidation because the likelihood of you breaking out in the direction of this flag, the technical target of this flag, right? This potential flag, not flag yet, but potential flag, because we don't have enough data based off of the upper trend line right now, right? You could lower the upper trend line if you wanted to down here. But to me, you could do that. But to me, I'm going to stick with that wick on the upside and see what kind of reaction price gets when we get to those zones. So that's interesting to me. Hey, I'm going to keep this on my radar too, man. I'm going to keep this on my radar as well. Capybara, hot meme coin, man. Maybe you put that on our radar. Now, I will do this. You guys know what I do with every coin that I see on Solana, man. We're going to go over that anti-rug agent real quick. And this is just a safety precaution. This is like those sites you could go to see if there's like child predators that are living around your neighborhood. So why do I say it like that? Because I want to know if I'm in danger getting into Capybara. And this is a quick, easy, no work for me way of doing that, right? This anti-rug agent does pull out, right? It'll let me know if the user, the wallet, right? Who's made this before has had substantial selling activity. 76%. That's not the greatest, not the worst. Good. Trump coin is 50%. I'll say that. So what does it have to say? Okay, the low wallet count is, just 9 days. It's very young, right? The highest holder owns 5%. So that does take a little bit of a damage here on liquidity with these two holders right here. That's a pretty large amount of supply for two holders, 10%. Not the worst. Not the worst. With that being said, it is typical for a coin that just came out. 3,400 wallets. Can you imagine getting into any of the top 100 coins when there were only 3,400 wallets that held them? You're probably sitting pretty today, you know? So, yeah, top 10 holders own 13.6. Minnings locked. Liquidity at 177.6 thousand. So it's a little bit of low liquidity, but if you're looking for that next 10, 20, 100x, this is where you got to look, and you got to be willing to take on this risk. So thank you, Sin Nasty Kid, for keeping that on our radar, baby, for keeping that on our radar. It looks pretty good from the anti-rug agent's perspective. I appreciate you keeping that on our radar, brother. I appreciate you keeping that on our radar. All right, diving on in. Michaela B, yeah, Androids get hot. New coin, Capybara. Too new to call a gem, Sin Nasty Kid. Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I get it, man. I don't ever pretend like I try to call gems, except for Sui. Man, I'm putting it down, guys. I'm putting it down. And I put it down in my box. Whenever I use the text out of the 5-minute flag, a boom for Sui to the upside. The altcoins taking a little back here from Bitcoin saying, no, we are not done. Zoom on out here. Look, I put a text box here and I locked it. Look, you can click on it. Look, I locked it, baby. Boys Crypto 2025 year-end prediction. You guys hold me to that. I will be here at the end of the year with you guys. And if you guys are still here with me, then you're staring at Sui sitting at about $12. Now I'll tell you guys what will tilt me, right? If we do this, if somehow Sui gets up here, right, into these zones, and we rip higher, and someone says to me in the chat, "Oh boy, she said it was only going to 12." I'll scream on screen. I'll scream on stream. I'll do it. I'll scream. This is where I'm going to start layering out, baby, at about $12. I think this thing could be a potential top 5. Do your own research. I think this thing can be a potential top 5 token. And even here on the look at this flag on the daily. That's a massive bullish pin bar. That's a bullish hammer pattern. That looks good. That wick is deep. All these wicks are deep. Shout out to each and every single one of you who like those big, deep wicks, baby. Those big, weak dips to the downside. They try to plunge it in deep, but, you know, and it comes out and it looks real strong. So, yeah, hey, Sin Nasty Kid, keep your nasty thoughts to yourself, man. I know that's why it's in your name, the Sin and the Nasty, okay? So, yeah, don't take that the wrong way. But that's a strong candle, baby. That's a Thor's hammer. That looks good. This flag, very likely to me, this wick here, likely to me to have been a legendary stop hunt. Get everybody crapping their pants, right? Crapping their pants. Oh my gosh, Sui's going to nothing. This flag forming out here on the 4-hour time frame. And this is why I'm not advocating anybody wait. And don't hate on me if it's, please don't hate on me. This is not financial advice. Don't hate on me if this breaks to the downside. But if this rips to the upside, I can't tell you that I wasn't saying, hey, you know, if you're not in now and you're worried about ripping the train, if this thing rips up to $5, I don't think we'll see $3 again. Not this cycle, no way. Not with the partnerships that this thing has. Not just the partnerships, Pokemon potentially being announced tomorrow. Whew, man, my uvula got dry. Man, oh my goodness. MH wants to look at PopCat. Let's dive on in. Let's look at bubbles real quick. The altcoin's getting a little bit of luck. Virtuals, boom to the upside. Sui, Fartcoin, Trump coin, of course. Trump coin, man. That's going to be the bane of my existence, I swear. Ondo getting a little bit of love. Some coins still struggling on the 4-hour. You're getting a little bit of love for these altcoins. So let's see if that can follow out into fruition throughout the night. The altcoins here look stronger than BTC. If Bitcoin's below the 5-minute 200, altcoins are above, baby. Altcoins are above. And there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers. I acknowledge that. But altcoins sitting above. The 5-minute 200 MA currently cranking out of this flag, looking to add a couple more billion to the altcoins here out of this flag. Target up at about 821. Looks very, very likely. And hey, if you crack this high right here, that's your 618. Or that's your 786, is it not? It is your 786. So you crack through that bearish Fibonacci. Fibonacci disrespected here, the 786, boom to the upside. And then you're like, well, where'd the next fib pool come from? Like, where's the next fib pool? Like, where are we likely to get resistance from a Fibonacci perspective next? I would argue from the high here. From the high here at about 836. You can pull this from swing high to swing low. You break that Fibonacci, I think you're likely to come up here and test this, say, to 618 at about 821 to 828. You crack 828, disrespect that. Altcoin season's back on, baby. Look at the daily for altcoins. Look, we were talking about getting in our altcoins in this box of remembrance. We were briefly inside of it today. MH, I got you, brother. I got you. I did not forget about PopCat. I got you. Dipping down on it. I just had to say that because I was just thinking about it. The thought just came to my mind. So we did get a dip into that box of opportunity that we've been talking about. This box isn't moving, baby. This box isn't moving. I wish I could. Can I lock this whole thing? I could lock each individual part, can I? Yeah. So I could lock each individual. I'll do that. Lock it, baby. Lock. Oh yeah, that way I can delete my drawings. That was a problem I was having. Lock it. Pop, lock, and drop it. I think that's what Beyonce says or something. But yeah, boom to the upside out of our box of what I will call our box of remembrance. Why are we calling it our box of remembrance? Because we're going to remember our box of remembrance when we're remembering back in the time when we got into our altcoins. We'll be remembering that time back here during our remembrance period up here. And this is going to be remembering. We'll be up here remembering our box of remembrance. And we're going to be like, wow, aren't we glad we got in at our box of remembrance? Because at that point, this is where what just happened. Oh, okay. This to me, we're going much higher. I think we could hit that $2.5-3 trillion level, then average 2.5, 3x for your average altcoin. I think this market's so young, man. It has the potential. I think it really can do some massive damage. Let's dive on into Popcat. Popcat for MH. Popcat, baby. So this was one of the hottest memes that came out in 2024. I remember it because the what do you call it? The logo, the slogan. Let's see here. See the images. Yeah, it's this thing. It's this cat, and everybody loved it. Everybody loved it. Right? Everybody loved that Popcat, and the thing just went absolutely crazy. I don't even know whose cat is this. Whose cat is this doing that? That's ridiculous. What in the world? Someone edited his mouth? What in the world? Yeah. So Popcat, baby. One of the hottest memes of 2024. Why? I have no idea. No clue. Could not tell you if it was. Yeah, no idea. All right. So let's dive on in here to Popcat on the daily, getting a very beautiful bullish engulfing candle. Unlikely, right? Unlikely that we're just going to shoot to the moon here for Popcat. However, I will preface this with this. This is a meme coin, right? This is a meme coin. And, you know, you guys know how I feel about investing in meme coins. But with trading meme coins, I'll be the first to tell you that these are the fastest to move. You want fast movers, you got to look at the meme coins. They're the fastest of the fast. What I'm seeing here for Popcat, likely to me with this daily bullish engulfing candle, right? And you can continue to go higher. And no daily bearish divergence. That looks good. I think there's likely going to be a little bit of a consolidation as Bitcoin consolidates, right, in this zone. I think Bitcoin's going to stay here. I can't see us just magically getting that massive pump to the upside without any kind of bullish stimulus. Is that stimulus Microsoft earnings and the NASDAQ following through to the upside? Could be. Definitely could be, right? Donald Trump opens up his mouth and says something about crypto, boom, to the upside. Anything could happen. Right, but I still see a little bit more sideways consolidation for this flag, not only for Bitcoin, but look how similar even these candles look for Popcat and Bitcoin. They are very, very similar. Green candle for Bitcoin equal green candle for Popcat, baby. And it's, you know, that's just the way it looks right now. So I'm seeing this flag consolidate sideways. What I am loving, take a look at your stochastic RSI, brother. That's starting to curve. If you could get a crack of your high here, right? And meme coins, when they crack the highs, people get stupid FOMO for them. They go foaming at the mouth, rabies style, raccoon, right? Like they get rabies style to the upside, man. They get super FOMO. So you crack the high, you could expect a massive squeeze to the upside. And the shorts on this, where are the shorts likely to put their stop losses? Think of it from that perspective. If you were a market maker, where would you go after? I'll tell you where I would go. I would go here and here and here. You got to look at your recent highs. If there's enough shorts in here to trigger a short squeeze, you could get a Popcat move. And if you think this thing can't move, 100, 200, 300% in a week, it can. Meme coins can, baby. Bitcoin's not going to. Ethereum's not going to. XRP's not going to, except for the one time that it did. Nothing in the top 100 is going to move 300% in the course of 3 days, right? Popcat can. It has the potential. I'm not saying it's going to, but it has the potential. I see a little bit more sideways consolidation action as this RSI starts to curve. Maybe you get a little bit of a flatten out here, maybe a little bit of hidden bullish divergence as you come down and test the bottom trend line one more time. That's what I'd be looking at for Popcat here, man, going on into the coming days. I will say that's a strong candle. Let's look at it on the 1 hour. That's a strong candle, man. You're getting above the 1 hour 200 SMA. And if you look at it from this perspective, let's see. If you look at it from this perspective, you know, you got your flag and you could have had, that could have been a stop hunt, ladies and gentlemen. That could have been it. Ignore that. That could have been a stop hunt. They wicked it right back up inside the pattern. And here you are in a flag on the 2 hour time frame for Popcat that looks like it could really do some damage here. And you know, for this coin, that would be a 29% move if this flag did start to move to the upside. The 2 hours a little cooked, But your 4 hour says, yes, sir. Your 4 hour says, Popcat's about to fly. Look how violently the stochastics are pointing in the upper direction. The daily's starting to curve. Where's your 6 and 8 hour looking? Your 8 hour is just getting started for Popcat, so I love that. When you blew off, when you got up here and you blew off a little bit, right? You blew off, you got a little bit of a pullback, 20% correction, okay. I'm tracking. Look at your 8 hour time frame, man. You have not only, you have a bunch of bullish things, you have your stochastics coming back up in the fair value on the 8 hour time frame with a massive bullish engulfing candle. That's point one. That says, boys, crypto, we're going to the upside. Point two, you have a big set of hidden bullish divergence here with your swing down on the RSI while you're swinging up in price action, making a higher low on price. That is hidden bullish divergence when you're making a higher low on price action while you're making a lower low on the RSI indicator, right? You had that bear div. The bear div almost played out. You got the reaction to the downside, right? That bear div, you got a reaction to the downside. Did not quite fulfill, but that bear div, as bear div often does, can turn into hidden bullish divergence. Hidden bullish divergence, higher low, lower low on the RSI, higher low on price action, stating that you're likely to crack this high before you crack this low. That's saying Popcat ready to ride to the upside out of this flag, man. It looks good. It looks good. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you, man. I'll tell you guys if I'm like, yeah. I'll tell you guys. I'll be flat out honest with you guys. I will. Because it's just how I view the markets, right? But that on the 8 hour looks juicy to me, man. It looks juicy to me. When was the last time you had a setup like that on the 8 hour? When was the last time? Look, every time the stochastics, okay, you had oversold stochastics here. The RSI was oversold. You did not get that bounce. You had the capitulation and downside. That was following the overall market trend. Here was a great example, right? You got above the 8 hour 200 SMA and you started consolidating. You let those stochastics reset. You formed hidden bullish divergence. This is the same scenario right here. Look at this. You had your flag, right? You had your flag cranking consolidation, baby, consolidation. You had your flag. You had a set of hidden bullish divergence. You had a higher low here, right? While you made you had a lower low here, put on price, or an equal low while you had price action swing up here. That is hidden bullish divergence. That's getting a little messy, sorry. But that's hidden bullish divergence here, right? Higher low on price action, equal low on the RSI, saying that you're reset, ready to go. And what else? You have that, yes, the stochastics reset on the oversold area, coming back into fair value right here is equivalent to where you're sitting right now in this flag. That looks good to me, man. That looks good to me to the upside. I tend to stay away from meme coins myself, but if you're in there, brother, I hope the best for you. It looks very, very good. And, you know, was this a 618 or a 786? This looks like a 786 retrace, does it not? From swing low to swing high, you came down. Let me get it exactly there. Swing low to swing high, you tap the 786 and you got that reversal to the upside. I think Popcat's got some more in the tank. It does look good, baby. It looks good. Popcat's the Lark Davis call, man. Yeah. Lark Davis, man. Lark Davis. I still got to do a little more diving into that guy, but I did see his Twitter account make some pretty interesting calls. And to be honest, like on the Twitter anyway, they're all pretty spot on. You know, and I know it's just rough going based off of a Twitter account, but the dude looks pretty cool. I do follow him now on Twitter, on X. All right, everybody. That's what I'm looking at going on into this Asian trading session in about the night, man. We had that massive bullish news out of Microsoft and Facebook saying that the AI plays are likely to, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if that's why Virtuals is taking a mooner right now, taking an absolute mooner. So we will have to see how this develops throughout the night. That's my market analysis for you guys. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys being here with me on the Boys Crypto channel on a Wednesday night. These candles can get relatively large here for the altcoins, and today, you know, was just red not long ago, and now we're getting that little bit of a bounce. The altcoins, come on, Ando, what are you doing, baby? But the altcoin's getting a little bit of love here. Let's see what we got in the tank going on into the coming days. We got initial jobless claims coming out tomorrow and the big day on Friday coming with that non-farm payroll data. We'll have to keep that in mind as Fed Chairman Jerome Powell comes out and gives it to us, baby, with the interest rates. We'll see how that happens. We'll see what that guy has to say about the economy. maybe even one of the reporters will mention Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, like that guy that legend did not too long ago. So yeah, everybody, thank you. Anything he buys turns to gold. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, I'll keep up to date with him. I appreciate you dropping that on my radar, Nasty Kid. And MH, man, I appreciate you guys really pushing the stream forward today, dropping those coins in the chat, and we going over the stuff that you guys like, because that's what it's all about, man. I want to go over what you guys like, and it also helps me find new opportunities in the market as well, because I don't look at every single coin every single day. Sometimes there's millions of coins out here on coin market. You could scroll through. I don't have time to look at all these throughout the day. But the top 100 tend to move together, and a lot of the coins that you guys do bring up are, out of the realm of what I normally look at day to day. So I appreciate you guys putting that stuff on my radar. Much love, everybody. I wish you guys a great night tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow on the Hey, before we go, I'm sorry. Yesterday, or on Monday, I missed doing the Boys Crypto merch giveaway, baby. So we're going to do one right now. We're going to do one like we do it every single time. We're going to do it like we do every single time. What I want you guys to do, right? How many people are in the chat right now? How many people are in the chat? There's 6 of you guys here. I'm seeing 6. There may be more than 6, but that is okay. All right, let's dive on in. I'll do this. Let me think. All right, I'm going to do a number between... You guys spam these numbers in the chat, baby. We're going to go 1 to 25. 1 to 25 in the chat, baby. In the chat. 1 to 25. We're going to give away a Boys Crypto shirt. We got the gold ones. We got the pink ones. They're hot off the press, baby. They're hot off the press. I will send it your way after this. You guys will email me at matthew.boyce102@gmail.com. 1 to 25, baby. 1 to 25. Get yourself a free shirt here on Boys Crypto. Spam those numbers in the chat. 1 to 25, baby. 1 to 25. 1 to 25. 1 to 25. 1 to 25. Let me see if I can get that auction stuff going. We got a winner. We got the number. Oh, wait. Someone got it here. The winning number is 8, baby. The winning number is 8. Michaela, that's incredible. Hey, Michaela, you're the second time you've won here on the channel, man. On the channel. I appreciate you dropping that on in. And you know what? Hey, Nasty Kid, I appreciate you being here as well, brother. I appreciate you being here as well. Michaela B is the winner. Nasty Kid, hey, man, you know what? I appreciate you being here in the chat. Send me your, both of you guys. I was going to do a giveaway. Hey, there's 2 people here. We give away t-shirts, man. You guys got some Boys Crypto shirt. Let me know if you want gold, which is like my logo back here, or there's a pink one as well. There's a pink one as well. I'll get those sent to you guys. Whatever address you guys want, send that to me. Send that, Kid. You're good, brother. You're good. You don't need to send any more numbers. I promise you. All right, guys. The email is matthew.boyce102@gmail.com. Both Sin Nasty Kid and Michaela B. Email me your preferred t-shirt size, and whether you want gold or pink, and whatever address you guys want me to send that out to, just drop that on in my email. Much love to you guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow night on the live, baby. On the live. Actually, I don't even know if I can stream tomorrow because I'm going to that museum. I'm going to this place right here. Actually, keep up to date with me. On X. See if I'm streaming tomorrow. If I don't stream tomorrow, I'll stream on. If I don't stream tomorrow, I'll stream on Friday morning for the non-farm payroll at 10 a.m. At 10. When is it? I got you guys. Hey, Sin Nasty Kid, you're a winner too, brother. You're a winner too. Send me your address, man. Send me your address. All right, so that data, non-farm payroll, comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll stream at 8:30 a.m. on Friday if I do not stream tomorrow. I got a little date tomorrow, guy. Yeah, I'm taking it to the Dallas Museum. It's like wow, what was it, man? Dinosaurs. So the Dallas Museum dinosaur. Yeah, where is it? Parrot Museum? Yeah, this thing, right? And we're going to see some like T-Rex skulls and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna be doing all that tomorrow. That's kind of like one of my things I like. I like old stuff, fossils, history, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that. We do a little date night. You know what I mean? We'll see if we could, we can see if we could impress the lady there. You know what I mean? And hopefully, I don't know if you guys do this. Shout out to all the guys there, man. Sometimes, man, you go there and you're like, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. But yeah, thank you all for joining me here on this Wednesday night. Much love to each and every single one of you, and I will see you guys either tomorrow night on the live or Friday morning, and I'll do Friday night as well. Much love, everybody. I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, Boys Crypto is out, baby. That email is matthew.boyce102@gmail.com.